I died on the staff of Homa Banner for your sins, and you still can't make this not suck ass?
Withering Waves is so good that it's even fixing its predecessor. Like, dear Diamonds and fellow Diamonds in Rough, by the end of every year, Genshin Impact usually has its Lantern Ride event or whatever the hell that is. And in those events, it's always interesting to see what they do and mostly how the community reacts. And to no one's surprise, Genshin Impact managed to even reach a lower point than what we've had before, because one would think they would have learned from their mistakes, but they're still trying to do better, but it's like the bare minimum where it's like, bruh, this doesn't work. What are you even doing? And they're trying to be sneaky about their predatory tactics, which a lot of people called out. So today, I want to start off my first video in 2025 by reacting to the ultimate reactor in the gacha space, which is good old Tectone himself. I stopped watching the video as soon as he said, I would love to see other CCs react to this and give our own opinion to what he's saying. So I would love to do nothing but that. Let's throw our hats on the ring as well. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Boys. So your boy
What's up,
is
man?
currently in the algorithm, and I mean really hard. We're having multiple
Yeah.
videos breaking 100,000
You love to hear
views
that,
again.
man.
It feels very good. Twitch
About
stream
damn
broke
time.
7,000 viewers last time I was live. And I
Let's
haven't
go.
done one of these in a while because sometimes I feel like an old man yelling at the clouds. Because my channel is currently blowing up, and it's also blowing up in other channels such as Japan and China, you know, territories that Hoyoverse
They
actually
always,
listens to.
what I love the most about, especially China, is that they always use Western CCs to voice their concerns. Because for some reason, well, there's not some reason. If I remember back in the day, Chinese CCs would get in trouble and get their Bilibili accounts canceled, etc., when they will voice their concerns about Genshin Impact, because Genshin Impact Hoyoverse is neck deep with the CCP, and the CCP basically runs China, especially social media. So they usually use, Western CCs to voice their concerns. But I don't know. It's a weird dynamic, but it's how it's happening. It's goes to show also China is like, oh, it's not just us. Like even the Westerners are complaining. Like this is all coming from them. Like it's not just us type shit. It's a weird dynamic. I've always questioned on why use us when y'all have your own CCs that can voice their concerns about that shit. But here we are. I think the last time I remember a huge CC, which is like the tech zone of China, got canceled by Genshin Impact, which was fucking crazy. I don't know. It's a weird dynamic. I'd love if anybody knows more about this, please leave it in the comments.
I would like to decide to throw my hat in the ring and once again to suggest changes and make the player base once again aware of its overly predatory practices, much
Oh yeah.
differently than the games that have come because of Genshin Impact that have kind of adapted the way that players.
Which is funny. I mean, all these games came after Genshin Impact. Using Genshin Impact as a blueprint, the blueprint itself is no longer evolving. It's like it gave this one-time formula. It's no longer adapting to the times, and that's it. The games that adapted the blueprint are doing better, but the blueprint itself is doing worse. Isn't that crazy?
Play and adapted the way players spend. I would like
Oh
for
yeah.
Genshin to get some equality like the other
Don't spend.
games have, and I do want you to make I want to make you abundantly clear of all of the issues currently with Genshin Impact and the way they monetize their video games. And I would also like, if you were a content creator, I would love for you to react to this video.
Yeah, that's when I paused and started.
Am I wrong? Am I not? And feel free to tag me in the react, and I would love to get a response to react. Really appreciate videos like this, keeping the community alive. Number one, fuck Paimon. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the
I gotta admit, Paimon at first, I liked. I thought it was a floating baby in diapers. I was like, ah, it's cute. Then she did not grow on me.
real shit of why I think Genshin has a horribly, horribly predatory system that it should learn from the games that are now and
Adapting their very own system.
Excelling where Genshin Impact lacks, and that is
course,
the monetary system. This video was inspired by you guys, and it was inspired by this comment. Genshin Impact isn't so bad. Just look at how much money we gave them from every single Genshin Impact fan. Patch after patch, after revenue report after revenue report, I see Genshin Impact.
Can you move your camera where we don't see the top of your screen, bald fuck? Can you do that? Like that goddamn screen up there is annoying the shit out of me, man. Move that shit.
In fact, retards, and I use that word specifically, say, oh, duh, but our game is really good, cause look at how much money it makes.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
Wasn't that the problem with the whole gotcha revenue system thingy? It's like gotcha revenue comes out. Oh, this is the best game now because it racked up the most revenue. No, it it's just it happened to be its month, especially in gotcha. Like every game has their month. Like some will have dry patches, some will have the most hyped up character, the most hyped up region, blah 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 blah. So it will vary, but it no longer it doesn't speak much volume to who's better than who. Ultimately, what's better than what comes down to player preference. You get to decide what's the best. No one else can do that for you. You can do that to yourself. That's the way it works.
That's really cool. Congratulations. Genshin makes a lot of money.
Oh, who
Do
would
you
have seen
want to
that?
know why it makes a lot of money? Well,
Because of
why
retards?
don't we give you issue number one? Genshin Impact. You are 4 years, nearly 4 years into your development cycle, and
Yep.
players cannot still farm the materials that they want to on
In
the
any day.
days that they want to do it.
Dude, that was a breaking point for me. I'll admit. I'll have to admit, because I used to play Genshin for the longest time. Even earlier this morning, I pulled for the Pyro Archon. If you want to know how that went, follow me on Twitter, please. Plug. But yeah, the material thing is probably the biggest slap in the face of its existence still being here in Genshin Impact. Like, why? My question is truly why? Because during the days of you can't farm that, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Especially if you're a veteran, you have a shit ton of Mora because instead of getting adventure XP, you get Mora. Or there's talent books, but you can always get those from Teapot. And by the time there's a character that's actually interesting to you, you're probably farming that shit and you have an abundance of them. So okay, there's always the artifact system, and I'm pretty sure he's going to touch on that. I'm not going to touch on that yet. It's like, what are we even doing? It's like, let me have the freedom. I feel like gotcha games are all about giving you options and giving you the freedom to navigate those options. I'm all for that. Give me options and the freedom to navigate them. That's how I love to play my games, especially a resource based game, which got these gotcha games are definitely resource based games because if you don't navigate your resources well, you can find yourself drying up in resources because as they are finite and are locked behind the daily system, so you can find yourself needing to spend money to fix your account. The way to go about these gacha games is definitely smart. Like you have to be smart in the way you go over your resources, which is something I like in these gacha games. But anyway, to go back to the main point, how the fuck is this still a system? I don't understand.
Now, do you want to know why that is, chat? Well, let
Why?
me tell you. That's because they want you to freak the fuck out if you miss a couple days. You miss the talent rewards. You can't level up the characters that you want. You can't play the way you want. So next time it happens, oh God, you farm
This
a
is a
little
big
bit.
event
But,
now.
it's not enough. If you're not patient, then guess what? You're going to have to wait a couple, 2 or 3 days to see that material apply again. So guess what you are going to have to do? Spend money on Primo Gems to refresh it to get even more of that. Oh,
I think it's even worse than that. I'm pretty sure in their shop, I'm pretty sure you can buy the books you want. I'm fairly certain. There's like this where like you purchase it by day or something like that. I think every gacha game has that shit. You can always purchase that for like $1 or something, and they can give you the resources you want. I'm fairly certain they do that shit. Correct me if I'm wrong.
so valuable resource that you so crave. It's bullshit. You know it's bullshit. Honkai Star Rail don't do that shit. Zenless don't do that shit.
Yeah, Wuthering Waves don't do that shit.
So why, oh why, does Genshin still do it? And let me
What's crazy is Honkai Star Rail, the first game to take the blueprint of Genshin and apply it in terms of, resource management and pulling, et cetera, et cetera. They did not take this system at all, which means that within Hoyoverse, they know that this is a flawed system, that this is not okay. They still went ahead and kept it there anyway. There's two games that came out of Genshin Impact, two babies, Star Rail and with Enzana Zone Zero. In Hoyoverse, I want to keep it to Hoyoverse. None of them took the system of, oh, we're gonna have this one day for every fucking talent material. None. I have no idea how that's selling Genshin. Maybe it's trying to act like, oh, I'm so him, like I can get away with this shit. It's just fucking weird. It's annoying. Just stop, Genshin. Just fucking stop.
Tell you why, because you dumb fuck slop that shit up and say, oh, Dwayne! Oh man, you're the best. Yes, I am using a retard voice intentionally because you got to be dumb as fuck to defend this shit. And
Yep.
how in the fuck are no CC's talking about this shit still? It's ridiculous.
I've talked about it since probably when I quit Genshin. Yeah, I think I had YouTube Shorts or some shit at that point, and I had talked about it. Like that. That was what pushed me away from Genshin. I was excited to get a character. I think it was also even recently. It was Silonin. When I tried to go back to Genshin, it was an interesting character for obvious reasons. I tried to go back. It just didn't click. The last time I tried going back to Genshin was in Silonen, and would you believe it or not, when I say that when I went back, and if you don't pre-farm or you didn't play the game for some time, you get the character you want. Well, it just so happens that it's not the day of getting that talent material, which means the character you're excited to go back to, you can't farm shit for. So you can always go for artifacts, get boss materials. Sure, you can cope like that, whatever. But the truth is that I wanted to have everything because I had the fragile resin built up over years, probably. I wanted to use some of that. And who said like I would be as excited to play Genshin Impact in 2 days? Like my hype is right now. I want to play the character right now. Why should I wait 3 days just to be able to play my character and its fullest potential? That doesn't make any sense. It's it's literally a system designed for like a predatory tactics, like he said. Now that I think about it, it's true. When the day of is here, you have to refresh. You have to maybe purchase the books from the store because it's the day of. It's like an event, so to speak. There's FOMO included in that. And okay, someone can say, well, you can always condense your resin, which means like you can do more in that particular day, which is cool. But look at how much of a restriction this system is imposing, more so than it is a quality of life for us, for players to enjoy. This system is flawed and doesn't make any sense at all, and should be gunned down like the piece of shit that it is. Period.
Ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. 4 years? And I still
I,
gotta wait till Wednesday to get my jigaboos in so I can level up my big booby bitch number 51?
yeah, that's true. Sunday used to be sacred for me, bro. I remember this shit. Sundays, oh man, like I needed to have 5 condensed resin, the teapot resin, for Sundays, because Sundays I can just sit down and any talent material, any character, I can do that. Like I finally have that freedom in Sunday. Yes. It felt so good. Like Sunday used to be the best day for Genshin Impact. It didn't work. That system does not work. We got tired of that mighty fast.
Dumb as fuck. You know what else is dumb as fuck? Front loading 2 characters, aka Malvika and Citlali, whatever the fuck her name is, on the same week cycle,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yeah.
giving the rewards on the second week cycle. Yes, that
I heard about that shit. Okay, let me throw my hat into the ring when it comes to that. Are we surprised? Are we surprised that Genshin Impact, especially, is doing this shit? I'm not. We are talking about the same company that did 3 pulls last year, so them doing this year, this is an improvement. Hey, y'all are ungrateful, man. This is an improvement, man. These Genshin players, you can't satisfy them no more. Fuck, that way must be crying right now. If you want both characters, this is definitely a problem. If you're someone like me who just wanted the Archon, I don't give a flying fuck. I'll be completely honest. But does this excuse this practice? No. No. This is definitely, if depending on the preference you have towards the game and towards the characters at hand, this could be a problem for you or it could not be a problem for you. But the fact is, as a whole concept, this shit is bad. Period. Like, there's no excuse for you to just change that up. There was like, oh, you know what? This is the first of the year. All these kids and all these babies have their Christmas money and their first of the year money. Oh, we need to really give them somewhere to spend. You know what? Double banner. This is the perfect time. Because I feel like the timing is funny. Timing is always important when looking at these things. And well, we just had Christmas and we just had the first of the year. A lot of kids are getting paychecks from their loved ones. What do you think those kids are going to be doing? Spending it on their favorite characters in Genshin Impact, or well, kids are not the smartest with money, and that money is going to be burning a hole in their pockets. So they want to spend it somewhere and flex somewhere, and where else than a fucking video game in a community that praises people to have 5-star characters, when in reality those 5-star characters aren't worth a damn. They're like NFTs, like that crypto art bullshit that is just a bunch of pixels on the screen that aren't worth anything. But we put value into these things because these companies make it so that they have certain value, when in reality, they don't. A character should in no way, logical, realistic setting, be worth more than $30. But you see people fucking spending up to $200 to get something that should be given up to you for not that much. I mean, can you imagine if you can just buy a character for like $20? That's it. There's no need for all these premium currencies. The game wouldn't make as much, and the game would be more accessible to players. But they're not going to do that because that gambling, that feel of gambling, and that feel of the more I spend, the more powerful I am, is what certain players crave, and they're going to keep milking this flaw within the player base. Unfortunately, I hope that made some sense.
That's right, boys. Have you ever heard of FOMO? Well, guess what? We're
Oh
back
yeah.
at it in round two. So now let me tell you why they did this.
FOMO is basically the core sentiment they base their whole system on. Am I nuts? It's literally why they put this system on. They prey on the sentiment of FOMO that humans have. And well, it's not limited to just Genshin. It's a business tactic that's all is fair in war, in business.
Because of money. You're going to notice a
Yep.
trend on this one, boys. So, Archon patch, highly desired unit, if not the most highly desired unit, unless they
Yeah,
decide to release Capitana.
even my
but
hating
that's
ass came
included.
back
It's not
to
going
it.
to make money regardless. Navika is the Archon, and Satali is her highly synergistic support unit. So
It is?
I've been told, I'll be real. I don't play the damn game because it's
Me too.
shit. And I like putting
I heard it's Silonen. Silonen. I mean, Silonen. You should have picked her up because it was a good character for if you're playing Genshin. But I have no idea what the second bitch do. To be honest, nor do I give a shit. I'll be completely honest. I'm saving my pulls.
the money where my mouth is. I will be going back to Genshin Impact once they get rid of Paimon and they make this game far less predatory. However, I'm not doing that until it changes. However, I still will be that old man
Me
on
too,
the
man.
porch
Me
with my
too.
shotgun saying, "Hey, get off my lawn!" like the bitter old fuck I am. Fuck that shit. They're calm, not calm to us. That's Summoner's War. Jesus, this feels nostalgic. Hoyoverse, this is a fucking joke. You are doing this because you know these people want this character. You are doing
Yep.
this because you know they want this character to be optimized. However,
Yep.
if they want that, man, they got to dig deep into their pockets. You couldn't even give them the 20 extra polls to
Hey, they got that Christmas money. They got that first of the year money. Come on, bald man. It's not that bad.
hopefully get one or two of them. If they get lucky, it wasn't going to happen anyways. It is fucking outrageous. Not only are you pay gating a Archon, which, by the way, issue number 3 is pay gating proper quality of life of exploring your dog shit game.
That, in my opinion, is the ultimate form of predatory. Let's go back a little bit to the 20 pulls, like being in the later half. That shit is like wow, wow. Didn't Wandering West like have the first 10, like in the first half they give you a 10, and in the later half they give you a 10. That's smart. It's still annoying. I would love to have them at the start, and I get to decide whatever the fuck I want to do with them. But they do that for the sake of getting you to spend money because that's the ultimate goal of these gacha games. Your fun comes last. Maybe it's a little different when it comes to Wandering Ways, but if we're gonna sit down and think about it, they have definitely changed their formula considering day one in just the way they compensate us for fuck ups and mishaps because it's about time. I mean, Withering Waves is getting momentum. They set themselves up in the market now, and that's it. Like they don't have to be as nice and giving so much free shit towards us, the players. The 20 pulls in the later half is the ultimate sign of these two banners are predatory as fuck. Genshin didn't make as much money as it did at this year of 2024 than it did in on previous years, which is understandable. People move on. Like there's now more competition. It's very normal. So I think this is their cash in way of going, you know what? We need a lot of money. We need a good entrance of cash flow to satisfy investors. So they went with this move, and the 20 pulls in the later half proves that they truly, truly want players to spend money instead of making these characters as accessible as possible for even free-to-play players, which it goes to show that ultimately Genshin especially, they will always prioritize corpa over player satisfaction 1,000,000%. Now when it comes to qualities of life, bruh, I mean, wasn't that shit like at the start of the game? One would have assumed that they would have added things later, but okay, a lot of I used to be one of the people that used to think that because I own the character that I am more rewarded and there's more incentive to get an X character because they offer a quality of life, right? It comes with the packaging of the 5 stars, which makes the 5 star more attractive to you, the player, and you wanting to get it. Kazuha is powerful, slash, it gives you a quality of life. Zhongli is powerful, gives you a quality of life. Yelan is powerful, and she also gives you a quality of life, right? All these characters, like there's that extra sprinkle that makes the product look better. The problem is when you don't own these characters, and more so the character roster is now big where you gotta like snipe them when the rerun happens. This becomes a problem because before those characters are available, you are stuck with a mediocre experience. You're not going as fast, you're not climbing things when you know if you had a character you could, etc., which just makes it annoying. This is just annoying. It's a flawed system that no longer works, especially when Withering Waves exists. Like Withering Waves, all those qualities of life when it comes to navigating the terrain in the world are all available to you to any character. Any character can do that cool shit. It can be a baby, it can be a grown ass fucking woman, it can be a grown ass man, whatever it is, any character can do that shit. Why is this still a thing is beyond me. But then again, like I said, there's more incentive in you getting the character you see because they offer also the quality of life, which is fucking predatory, which means they want you to spend more of that money. It is what it is. It used to work on me back in the day when I didn't know better. I'll admit.
Look at Wuthering Waves. All quality
Yeah,
of
there we
life
go.
is locked behind fucking gadgets.
Yeah. They are
How the
given
fuck are you
easily.
gonna release shitty versions of these little dinosaurs to do Mickey Mouse versions of the mega versions of the characters that you can pay $500 fucking dollars to
To
guarantee
get,
you
yeah.
one copy of? Ridiculous. And all
Yep.
these other characters who people already pulled for to get better exploration. Now Malvika does all of their job in one character. You know
Yep.
what you're doing. It's fucking outrageous. You are going
Yep.
to be slurping up people's money from their wallet, and it's gross. And then you put Sitlali, the most synergistic unit for Malvika, with her, knowing that if a player wants one, they're going to want both. So that way you can assure $1,000 to guarantee both.
So do I get Sitlali or not? Is she that good with Mavuika? Because if that's the case, maybe I need to log back in and get that bitch.
of them, not to mention their fucking weapons and let.
You want to know what's funny and why I'm not going to do that is not only because it's fucking stupid, but also I'm pretty sure there's going to be, before the end of Natlan, a character that does what Sitlali does, but better. And reruns exist. Like, it's always smart to wait and see what future unit could do what the already existing unit does and better. That's just me, though. That's just me, though.
Let's talk about the issue with the fucking weapon banner. Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact. Why the fuck is there a 50-50 on that shit? Why the fuck is there a 75-25? This shit sucks.
Oh, it's simple. It gives you dopamine. You don't get dopamine when you get it in Withering Waves because that shit is guaranteed. But when you win that 75-25 or 50-50, there's that dopamine rush. Ah, this bold fuck don't know what he's saying, man.
Look at Wuthering Waves. If I get to pity, I get the fucking weapon, we call it a day. You don't need the game to be this fucking predatory. I assure you, do something to make your players happy for once.
Yeah.
Just try it. See how it goes. It'll make.
Oh, it's very hard, man. They can't do that, man. Ah, it's tough. Oh, it's all because of you, man. This bald ass is the reason why this is happening. Blame it on him. The reason why I'm saying that is the fact is that if Genshin does what they have to do, they have to prove this guy right. They have to say he was right. We should have listened way before. That's why. I'm pretty sure there's like an inner conflict of Well, if we do that shit, this bald fuck would turn out to be right, man. We can't have that. We can't live in a world where Tectone is right. The problem is, it's a sentiment all of us feel. Like, it's no longer just about that one guy shouting on a microphone. Those days are long behind us. Like, there's a whole community rallying behind this sentiment. Well, it's about time you do it, man. Shit.
Will make you feel quite good. Losing these chances on these banners fucking sucks balls. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
once again,
That's why I don't pull for them at all. I truly don't. That's why I always focus characters first. Characters are always going to be better because you can always make do with the 4-star fucking weapon, etc. Like, it's not going to be the best, but it's still like at least you're getting the experience of getting the character. Weapons are extra, and it's just a lot more money, and it requires a lot more resources to get like a character and their sig. I would love to be able to do that, but it's just way too pricey, and there's not much incentive to do that when you can, well, just get a 4-star and cope with that. I mean, I'd prefer buying a battle pass weapon that will give me crit more than going all the way to get the 5-star sig. That's just me though. That's me. It feels cheaper. It's almost the same level of power, especially in Genshin, where you don't need to sweat that hard to get all the end game rewards. So I don't know. For me personally, I don't even know why weapon banners are that difficult, because there's not even enough of an incentive for them to be that difficult in the first place. It's like this extra shit that you want to showcase to the world that this is your bitch. Like, oh, I got her with the SIG and everything. It's more of a flex thing more so than an effectiveness thing, if that makes any sense, is what I've observed. Of course, there's always the incentive of the extra power that the weapon gives, but from what I've observed, people care more about I got her with the SIG type flex more so than I have her because it's the SIG is more powerful. I hope that makes some sense.
I also heard that the new weapon banner system, there's only one 50-50 now, but it doesn't fucking carry over.
Thanks to you, by the way. The weapon system was fine before. This bald fuck ruined everything.
I died on the staff of Homa banner for your sins, and you still can't make this shit not suck ass, bro. I spent like $500,000 on your fucking game. Like, think about that reasonably, chat. What?
I could have sworn he said the N-word. Holy shit, that scared the shit out of me.
How much more money does this company possibly need to get before they start saying, okay, so now we got the groundwork for everything we need. Maybe we'll make the game just a little bit more friendly for people who aren't fucking whales.
No, they're never gonna do that because the formula is to do the least and get the most. That's like their gotcha premium game 101 type shit. Like, it's just the formula these devs apply. And the fact that if they do things, they have to go against that very formula that they base the whole game about. If that makes any sense. These new games are doing it different because they gotta beat up that one giant that's still doing it and getting away with it. But believe me when I say that if the other companies could get away with the shit Genshin Impact is getting away with, they would do the same shit. That's just the reality and the truth of things. Genshin still doing this is simply because they can still get away with it. It's not that hard, it's not that deep. We would love nothing more than for them to work better and do better on the game. I personally like Mavuika. I really do. She could easily, I can see her easily be one of my favorite characters of all time. But the truth is the environment in which Mavuika is in is just not a good one. Like, Genshin right now isn't that appealing, especially to me. The more I know about the game, the more I see the sentiment about the game, the less I'm willing to play the damn game, which is sad. So for Genshin, despite them giving us, like, say for example, a good character like Mavuika, like, as long as these problems persist, it doesn't matter. Players like myself are not gonna wanna keep playing your game. Like, they can log in like this, try Mavuika, try to level her and everything, play her like in one abyss, and that's it. They'll probably never look back again, which is sad to see. And if this is the formula you're willing to go with, by all means, I mean, one day when you die on that hill, down that hill, and like he said, like, we're gonna keep shouting on that because we know what could be. You're just too stubborn to want to do it. It is what it is.
It's outrageous. It really is. Now, we talked about the weapon banner. We talked about the character front loading. We talked about the lack of awards, 3 years, 3 polls. We talked about the pay gating, quality of life. Now, let's talk about something even more fun.
What else?
Bullet sponge fights.
Oh.
Yep. That's right. Bullet sponge fights. That way, even these little autistic children that populate your Twitter space can still get on the game and throw the little, I throw the water bubble and then I throw the green bubble and it makes a flower and then I take electricity and then I make it explode.
I'll admit, Hyper Bloom was somewhat interesting to me, just because of what the fuck is it? Like, what is that? Like, what the fuck is even that? Because reactions make sense, based off real shit. Hyper Bloom was like, what the fuck is even that? Like, that's so weird. Yeah, when it comes to the skill, I mean, let's be real. Genshin is supposed to be a casual, you don't give a fuck. It's a feel good game. It's a feel good game. You're supposed to just log in and feel good about yourself when playing the game. Them being bullet sponges takes it to a new extreme. It's just boring at that point. Like the monsters don't do shit. Like they're way too slow. Like it doesn't even make sense. Right? So it can still be easy. It doesn't have to be that easy. I hope that makes some sense.
God, I'm so fucking good at Genshin Impact. That way, even your fucking retard fan base, only the people who like Paimon. Once again, if you like Genshin, it's fine. Totally get it.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
hate that fucking character.
Yeah, just so that we're clear, if you like Genshin, it's totally fine. I still have residue of my past fondness of Genshin Impact. I still do. But the truth is just that's not enough for me to look at the game and go, oh, I'm so hyped up and excited to keep playing this game, because the game is just not doing it anymore. Especially the more I know.
Character. I mean, you got to be Dora the Explorer's #1 fan to fucking enjoy the story writing this game. Holy shit! I don't want to make a video on why the storytelling is fucking shit. I just fucking don't. I really,
Oh, it's
I
trash.
don't have the prerogative.
Skip button.
Okay.
Skip
Make
button.
this game so goddamn easy to fucking play. But then the problem is you want to make people think that they're not good enough by making every character have 10 million HP. The skill ceiling of a bad player and a good player is borderline non-existent.
Yeah,
okay. You got these people like Zadjef and Ziox who like to pretend that they're good at the game. They're fucking not. Okay. Anybody who plays this game for 3 hours is just as good as anybody who's paid for 1,000 hours. This game is not hard. There are not complex mechanics. Now there are mechanics that you can pretend are complex, but they're fucking not. Oh yeah, Tectone, but what about the Dragon Dive? What about the Dragon Dive, Tectone? What about canceling the auto attack for Hu Tao? Yeah, well, those are for fucking losers. So yes, you can do like 1 to 2% optimizations if you want to be like. I'm gonna be real, bro. If I go to somebody's stream and I see them dragon diving on D-Luke, I'm clicking off. Okay, hell no, Jesus Christ, you got to be the.
That's something I've always wanted to do, but I've never cared enough to want to do. I was like, okay, D-Luke is my favorite character in Genshin Impact, and when I saw people like do that dragon diving shit, I was like, it would be cool if I could do it. And I've noticed just how annoying it is to do, and just the results, and like how much you get off the getting that skill. Like the damage is so mediocre. I was like, yeah, no, I don't care enough for me to keep doing this shit. Even though this is my favorite character, I don't care about this dragon strike thing, because it's not worth applying, because the rewards of it are so low, it doesn't even matter. It's like extra sweating for no reason. If I'm sweating on some shit, like with Ringways, I'm learning how to dodge and perfect parry, etc. No, I get quite the reward off pulling off those things. Dragon diving in Genshin, you don't do shit. It's very mediocre results, which results are all what players seek when learning a skill in video games. Come on.
Biggest turbo virgin to fucking practice hardcore Genshin mechanics, aka a game made for dumbasses on the internet, 8-year-olds on their phone, and you're out there on the PC sweating that shit like it's CS:GO or League of Legends Worlds. Good lord, get a fucking grip, or even better, go to the gym and do something productive with your life. Holy shit, that shit is sad as fuck. You can do it for fun, but if you think that you're doing it because you're superior, good lord, get a fucking grip. That shit is pathetic. Bullet sponge mechanics, you know what they do?
He said it, not me.
They really incentivize players to spend money because the mechanics of this game are not complex enough to actually get better at, to do more damage. But however, you can get a couple constellations. Isn't that fun? No, it's not. It sucks. It really fucking sucks. It sucks so bad, you might as well call it your mother. It is so fucking terrible, it's outrageous. And yep, I believe those are every system that sucks in good old Genshin Impact. And just wait. It also does not have the freedom of choice with your characters. Once again, selling units that are highly purposed to be with this specific character, it blows. We all remember Raiden Shogun and Karasojo, whatever the fuck her name was, or
Oh,
Karasujo.
Kurosawa,
Maybe
yeah,
she was a
that
4
bitch,
star.
yeah.
She wasn't as
Kujo
bad as
Sara, I
like
think.
Honkai Star Rail, because Honkai Star Rail, good lord, I hate that shit. Oh, so you got this one follow-up character? Well, okay, you got Fei Xiao. Well, now you need Adventuring and Robin.
I mean, to be honest, if you have the characters, it's fun, it feels rewarding. But if you don't, ugh, it's a horrible feeling. Also, okay, my theory is, say for example, Aventurine is a generic shielder. It's a good character. Now, the fact that you already have Aventurine, you can look at a character like Fei Xiao and go, well, you know what? Since I already have Aventurine, which was just a generic pull for you, you have more of an incentive to get facial because like you're being rewarded for owning Adventuring, and now that you get facial, you can look at a character, of course, like Robin, which is a must-have when you want to play a character like facial, and go, well, you know what? I need to get Robin. If you remember in the facial banner, they had Robin rerunning with her, which made it that you needed 2 5 stars, which was my case. I got both Robin and Fei Xiao in that banner because I couldn't play Fei Xiao at her utmost potential without Robin. So, of course, it's a predatory tactic. It's annoying. It's definitely there to generate more revenue and put pressure on players to they want to have to spend. But I don't see them being. I don't see them stopping doing that. It's just it's sneaky, and unless you're aware of it, it will prey on you. And even me, someone that's aware of it, I'm like, I don't care enough. I just want to play these damn games, man. Okay. This is the new units. This is the new style of play. Instead of doing DOT, I can do follow up attacks now. Okay, cool, whatever. And that's what it is, really. Beyond that, yeah, in a perfect world, I agree with what he's saying, but that's probably never going to happen. I think even in a game like Withering Waves, we're probably going to see something similar. When Jeji is obviously a glacial support, which is supposed to be played with glacial units mainly, yes, she can be used with characters like Jinxie, but that's just because Jinxie happens to be OP and gives supports more of a way to shine. Like what applies to JJ applies to a character like Yin and any future character that have a similar way of playing. So it like pairing characters will always be a thing. I don't see them going the generic. Like for example, a character like Shorekeeper in Wuthering Waves, that's a generic character, and everybody and their mother owns that character because of how generic she is. So there will be characters that are generic, and a mix of both is definitely a good way to go about things. That's me personally, but yeah, I don't see this thing changing. Good old bald fuck. That's not happening. Why am I calling you bald fuck? Baldy. That's not gonna happen.
And Topaz. Yeah, that's a character. That's the character with the huge ass. Yeah, I remember her. Yeah, you need that to build Fart. And if you don't have those characters for Fart, you're going to play for 40% optimization. It's just shitty, bro. It's just shitty. This game has every capacity to learn, but it won't. And you want to know why? Because nobody talks about this shit.
No, no, wrong, wrong. You need like something like a boycott slash new competitors. Like, okay, what needs to happen is we need to have yet another outrage when they lose millions of followers, blah 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 blah, and then have like Ananta and shit like that that are gonna get a lot of hype and are definitely getting a lot out of the cake where they have to get up and do this. This has been talked about. You can talk about it. We can talk about it. That the reality and the sad reality is these assholes know they can keep getting away with it because there's retards that are willing to keep slopping on that shit. That's the truth. They know it. We know it. Unfortunately, we can keep talking about it. Of course, we gotta keep the sentiment alive. I'm not saying that we should just stop talking about it, but you gotta keep talking about it. You gotta keep the sentiment alive for players to keep at least they gotta remember this thing about the game, or else people forget and people get comfortable real fast. So you gotta keep the word up, keep the word alive. But the fact of the word is alone, unfortunately, as hard as it is for me to say, because I would love to know that my words and my concerns and my voice matters to these assholes. Unfortunately, it does not.
Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. You want to know why? Because they don't care. They don't. You want to know why they don't care? Because they know forcing positivity is what's good for the algorithm.
Oh, if he's talking about those guys, Sure, sure.
And they know that's what's good for their channel. It's good for their livelihood. But you know what it's not good for? The fucking player base. You
Yeah.
know what it's not good for? The fucking spending habits of people who can't control themselves in these fucking gacha games. Remind
If you have a bad spending habit and you're gonna blame it on gotcha games, that's a you problem. That's a skill issue, and you need to look inwards. You cannot blame gotcha games for your spending habit issues. No, 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 sir.
your audience that these are predatory games and demand that your companies do better. That's just
They are predatory games, and people that play them just need to. That's why I always say that they are bitches. These gotcha games are bitches that are claimed they will love you and care about you, but ultimately what they care about is your wallet. Like, never forget that. It's easy to blur the lines. Once you bust a couple nuts and you get comfortable, you start to believe on the bullshit she was telling you at the start. No, no, don't never forget the start. Never forget the true sentiment that she is here for a reason, and you know what that reason is. Stop trying to blur the lines. Nothing changed. You changed. You have a different perception now, but the thing didn't change. So always keep that in mind that these games are ultimately here to go for your wallet. That's the main thing. That's the main focus. Never forget that.
my opinion. Once again, I'm doing this because I'm back in the algorithm. Thank fucking God.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
for liking,
God.
commenting, subscribing to my channel. Thank you for hitting the bell
All
on
right,
all
let me do that
notifications.
shit
And
right
thank you for following me on
now.
twitch.tv/techdown and joining me on Twitter. Be back again when I make another video pissing everybody off because I am the one guy trying to fix things while everybody else is doing fucking nothing. Not everybody, but the people who are put on a pedestal. See y'all later.
Yeah,
Peace.
sure. That, hey, you know what? That's a fair sentiment. Yeah, this is something that I think that was long overdue for people to truly be talking about. I'm glad this is happening, to be honest. As you can tell, I had a lot to say about this shit. And the truth is, this is going to be quite the battle. This is a long, cold war that we're going to be having. And my prediction is going to be people being upset slash a game like Kanancha is definitely going to be yet again the thing that's going to reignite a fire under Genshin's ass where they have to make changes because believe it or not, before Withering Waves, they didn't do much changes. But when Withering Waves was here and it started to prove itself as a competitor, that's when they started doing this shit. I mean, you wouldn't have got 20 pulls before Withering Waves, man. I'll be honest. Even the 20 pulls you're getting in the later half, you wouldn't have gotten that shit if it wasn't for Withering Waves, man. So Withering Waves is so good that it's even fixing its predecessor. Like, Withering Waves is an evolution. That's what we're mainly passionate about now. But in in contrast as well, it's still fixing its predecessor. I hope the contrast term was correct. But yeah, what a great way to start the year, man. Reacting to a Tech Tone video. Yeah, it goes to show there's so much that changed, man. Some for the best, some for the worst. But hey, that's life. Like, comment, subscribe. All right, we'll see you on the next one. See ya.